Hello, and welcome to what I hesitate to call an unboxing because indeed it has already been unboxed, otherwise I would know what it was. It did come a few days ago, but I decided for rather obvious reasons to leave it till today because it is the 45th anniversary of the last Waltz in terms of Thanksgiving dates, if not the actual calendar date. And time being in flux anyway, it doesn't really matter, does it? Time is all relative. So 45 Thanksgivings ago, today, the last Waltz by the band, and this beast arrived in the post this week from the United States of the America. Big old white box with a rather horrible looking stain on the front, unfortunately. But we all know what that logo means, don't we? A bespoke box with on the front this quote from Robbie from the film. Of course, it's going to be Robbie's quote. He was by far the most enthusiastic. And in said box, which weighs a metric ton, excuse me for being metric, not decimal, will come the last Waltz 40th anniversary edition. There we go. Nice huge leather bound tome, more a record of the event than anything else. And if we can pan back and give you a little look at what that says, this is an exact replica of a one-off bespoke item which Martin Scorsese presented to Robbie Robertson, of course, as a keepsake to commemorate their long-term association and the anniversary of the Waltz. Robbie said, well, we should make a small run of these for fans. Got in touch with Rhino, who were already releasing the last Waltz anniversary box set, and said let's do a limited run of these bad boys. So thank you, Robbie, for this from 5 years ago. But essentially what this is purely aimed, as you can imagine given its size, at the collector's market. What it is pre-post mid production of the actual Waltz itself. So what it isn't is a story about the behind the scenes. You'll get that in the documentaries and commentaries and whatnot. This is the logistics, it's the budgeting, it's the costuming, it's the lighting, it's the editing, it's the composition, it's the mise en scène to go off film school. And there are 300 pages, all on high quality cardstock. Now, some of this will be incredibly dry to look at for non-band fans and even band fans, but for the collector it is absolutely insanely interesting. Let's jump right ahead because there are hundreds of pages. So if we just pick one at random, so we've got here master shots. Bob Dylan, Baby Won't You Follow Me Down. Basic side view, 3-shot, 2-shot Dylan single. If Rick or Robbie join in choruses, get 3-shot at times. So this is here's what we hope is going to happen. If it does happen, camera, you be ready, you be ready, you be ready, but mostly you. Discuss position. Rear views when possible. Dylan, Robbie, 2-shot, also Rick if necessary. Make sure get good profile Dylan. Dylan, Robbie, good key camera on Dylan. Dylan key cam. As you can imagine, Dylan was quite an important part of that scene. Pick another one, Bobby Charles down south in New Orleans, which didn't end up in the film, but so I mean it's even got the kind of deleted but possible things that may have been included in the film. Bobby Charles, the footage doesn't exist to the public, but it was recorded. As we know, there were logistical challenges on the night where cameras all failed at the same time in terms of film stock. Muddy Waters was very nearly not recorded at all because where the one camera capture is managed by. The popular view is that, oh, wasn't that really interesting to only use one camera for filming Muddy Waters? It was a total accident. It was never supposed to be there. But it worked perfectly for managed by, wasn't it? It didn't, excuse me. So, hundreds of pages, things like that. So we won't go into all of that. I mean, one page just to say one line, which happens to be reel number 1, Saturday night, end of sound, roll number 1, and camera roll A1. We're talking in-depth script here, so you get a full shooting script, as it were, for the last Waltz. And then if we jump kind of halfway through, you get you get the kind of postscript where you deal with what was actually said. So this is after the recording at Shangri-La in '77, where editing decisions would have had to be made about what we're actually going to include in here. And then if I can find them, the card stock is so good that you can't always find what you're looking for. I should have put little tabs in here, shouldn't I? But if I can find one of the examples. Here's one. Where what they want to do takes up too much room, they even do it as a foldout. So you get, I'd imagine these are Boris Levin's drawings about short composition and whatnot, and what they hoped the cameras would pick up. And then it moves into the actual Waltz itself. So if we jump right ahead past the scripts, pre-post and editing instructions, we're talking hundreds. This part of the book right up here is devoted straightly to that. But then if we go forward to here, the main course. So let's get a bit tighter for that. Can we move the camera a little bit? Yeah, not much, but let's try and. Okay, I'll just lift this a little more. These, believe it or not, are not printed on photographs on a page. These are actual prints which are glued on for every single page, as Marty did for Rocky. So you get an exact replica of that. It didn't cheap out on this in one possible way. So there's your Winterland audience. I'm going to turn this because the thing's far too heavy. Lovely shots from her to Zoll. Ricky. I'll try and talk above that so I'm not muffling myself too much. The pages with the print on it is thick that it's hard to figure out if you're moving more than one page at once. There's Garth, the professor himself. Richard, which might have been in the 77 sessions because he's not wearing that Pauline jacket. The crowd, who we of course didn't see much of at the Waltz because it wasn't about the audience, it was a show by the band. The Huck, Ronnie Huck, 15 years ago when we started. Speaking of Muddy, a few moments ago, there is the man himself. Could be doing Caledonia or managed by there. Butterfield, could be doing Mystery Train. They of course also came out for Caledonia with Muddy Waters. Neil Young, I'm skipping pages I think because the card stock is so thick. Young, no I didn't. I have checked, it's the wrong nostril to see if they've altered the picture and for the cocaine. Speaking of cocaine, Mr. Eric Clapton, referring to the song, of course, not his unfortunate drug addiction. We won't comment on his current activities. Joni, could well be doing Fuddy Sings the Blues or the song that was featured in the film, Coyote. Speaking of current activities, Van Morrison, we won't go into that. Still, love the version of Caravan on the evening, although that suit didn't do much favours, did it? Or many favours, I should say. Still, those high kicks, who can forget those legendary high kicks? Oh, there we go, speaking of. That was definitely worth including because, right, okay. Dylan on the night. Backstage, Bill Graham and Dylan's management having massive issues over whether Dylan would be filmed or not. Martin Scorsese tearing his hair out because, as Bill Graham pointed out, if there's no Dylan, there's no Last Waltz. You know, if you don't allow the performance to be filmed, and people see a film in 18 months, 2 years, where they know Bob Dylan was the headliner essentially of the guests, and he isn't in the film. What's the film? Especially when Dylan hadn't appeared live since '76. So we had the Rolling Thunder review. So he's been off the road for about 6 months. So he's appeared with the band for the '74 tour only since '66. You know, so last time you're ever going to see Dylan and the band perform together on the road? No, not including that would have been a bit of a mistake. And that's why they allowed half the set to be filmed, which is why we don't have any record of Hazel apart from bootlegs. We don't have the other version of Baby Let Me Follow You Down, and that's why the camera pans down from the top onto the start of Bob Dylan, why there's no introduction from Robbie. There's the ensemble at the end. That should be released, which I'd imagine would be followed by Ronnie Wood, isn't it? Yeah. I always feel bad for Steve Stills because Robbie introduces Ringo and Ronnie, but doesn't mention Stills as well. Speaking of Ringo, doesn't mention that Steve Stills also joins them for the All-Star Jams at the end. I'd imagine Neil Young quite enjoyed Stills not sitting in, or getting announced as sitting in, considering Neil Young had just walked out on the Still Young tour about 4 months earlier. And there's the All-Star Jam itself, which was totally spontaneous, which is the way music should be. And what we got there, obviously Marty giving some coked up direction, the Staple Singers, and that was part of the 77-78 recordings done in the studio soundstage. Legendary version of The Wait where Levon sings like an angel, and then everyone else manages to do likewise. Emmylou with that stunning version of Evangeline, which is one of the videos I always like to point out is, why are the band called The Band? And I say, well, can any other band switch instruments like this and show them Evangeline, where the drummer's on your mandolin, your piano player's on the drums, your keyboard player, your organ player is on accordion, you know, I mean, ridiculous. Scorsese again giving instruction, and speaking of, good drummer being on mandolin, and you know, Ricky on fiddle, the band for a reason. And then credits, because of course at the end we get the film, same DVD as the old US Blu-ray. Blu-ray 2 is exclusive to this set. It has a 90s interview with Marty and Robbie about the Waltz, and a 5.1 mix of the original double album. So not of the 4 disc version, but of the double. But you do get the 4 discs here. So you get the full concert with the rehearsals and things that we've had. What I do like about this is quite an egalitarian set, in that they didn't use anything exclusive in terms of music. There's no, you know, you have to spend hundreds to get the best version. To get the music, you have to spend hundreds if you want to have all the music. No, this is purely for the collector, purely for those who say, yeah, the band's my favourite band. If you want the music, if you want the film, you can get it affordably. Exactly the same version, not one change. So there's nothing on here that needs you to say, oh God, if only I had the money. Apart from the book, which, yeah, it's lovely, but it's not exactly a record in terms of increasing your knowledge. It's more collector's kind of thing. More, you know, incredibly niche, but incredibly wonderful. So this is now the pièce de résistance of my band box sets, along with, you know, Across the Great Divide was, I suppose, the first one, wasn't it? And then musical history, the Academy box set, the Rock of Ages live complete shows. That's now deleted, I think. And then the box sets we've recently had for the 50th anniversaries of Big Pink, the band, Stage Fright, and next month or a couple of weeks, Cahoots. So, what a wonderful time to be a band fan in terms of being able to increase your band collection, have the best versions possible. But yeah, well, thanks for stopping by. I hope having a look at that, because I looked around and nobody on YouTube has one of them uploaded. So I thought, I might upload mine when it comes. Because I do love the band. They are my favourite band of all time, and why not share so you can at least see what it is if you didn't know it existed. Now there is a scaled down version, nice black cover, the 40th anniversary edition, which Rhino will also sell. I believe that's still in print. If not, it's not expensive second hand. You see it for about £40 to £50 on Amazon UK. I don't know about Amazon US. But even then, if you can't find that, you just take the Blu-ray, you just take the 4-disc set, smash them together, and it's exactly the same content anyway. So, be confident that nothing here is elitist or milking fans. It's purely a commemorative item, which a lot of people will say, do you really need it? No. But do you want it? I do. If you don't, hey. So, well, thanks for watching. For those of you who are watching as band fans, enjoy Cahoots in a few weeks when it's released. I've already enjoyed that wonderful version of Thinking Out Loud, the stripped version that's been released on YouTube, and I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of it. And hopefully, in the next few years, we'll get deluxe versions of Mean Dog Matinee and Northern Lights, Southern Cross, Islands. Islands would be a tough one, wouldn't it? But well, I'd still buy it, wouldn't you? And hey, if they release Deluxe, and this isn't obviously Robbie's part of the gig, but if they'd release box sets of Jericho, High in the Hog, and Jubilation, I'd take those too. If I release more of the 80s band live stuff for the Jericho sessions, which were on bootleg, I've got those, give me them officially and I'll buy them. I'll buy it. Oh, I do. I've got, I bought the Japanese Richard Whispering Pines CD, and the Dutch Rick Danko CD, and I've bought multiple versions of the LPs to get different picture sleeves and whatnot. Give us it. We'll keep buying it. We're a small fan base, but we're very devoted. Anyway, I should probably take this opportunity, given the anniversary, to say happy Thanksgiving to all my friends in America. And indeed to anyone who isn't my friend, but is just watching this video. So, happy Thanksgiving. Peace out. Love and mercy. And we'll see you next time.